Oh, what's going on, guys? Pokey Paul here, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about raising healthy goldfish. I'm going to go over how to feed them, how to take care of them, and what kind of water quality they need.
Judge me by my socks, you shall not.
Okay, so the first thing that I recommend for keeping healthy goldfish is a very powerful filter and also adequate space. So you don't necessarily need a system as big as this one, but I would say space big enough for keeping goldfish. As weird as it might sound, and as regardless of what pet stores tell you, I would recommend at least a 75-gallon tank. Reason being is because goldfish actually get pretty big and they also eat a lot. And when you feed a lot, it creates a lot of waste in the water, and that will foul your water up really quick. So first things first, filtration. This is my mechanical filter right here. This filter is filled with actual sponge pads. What this one does is this one gets rid of the physical waste in the water to give the water a nice clear look. So what happens is the water goes from the pump and goes directly through this filter. It goes from the bottom all the way up and then goes to the next filter. Now the next filter I'm going to explain in a minute, but this is the mechanical filter, like I said. And to me, this is one of the most important types of filtration, because this filtration makes it to where the water will, again, ultimately be clear and will have no really organic solids in it. So let's move on. So the next stage of filtration is right here. This is my biological filtration. This particular one is actually a bead filter. This gathers biological bacteria on the beads using the surface area from the beads. So what that means is the bacteria will go through the actual media that's in the bin, which is in this case beads. It's going to go through the beads and it's going to actually colonize on the beads. So anything that has surface area will give you adequate filtration for a system such as this one right here. So once the filter gathers the biological bacteria will go ahead and mature. Now, everyone will give you a different answer to how long it takes to cycle a system. I personally have had the most luck cycling a system through the time period of about 12 weeks. Now, there are people that claim to get it done faster. There's products that claim to get it done faster. I like to go the all-natural way. Reason being is because what I've seen is keeping it natural is the best way to keeping a pond, fish tank, whatever else you have. When gathering bacteria, you want to make sure that the bacteria has plenty of food to eat. So the bacteria will feed on any of the waste that's actually in the system and will eventually mature. And the more your bacteria matures, the faster it'll be able to get rid of chemicals like ammonia and nitrite and nitrate in your system. So that's the basic to filtration. Now there's much more to it than that, but that'll give you a basic idea of how filtration works. So next thing will be actually feeding the goldfish. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that now. All right. So the one thing I'm going to say is there are a couple of different foods to feed your goldfish. At this moment in time, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys flakes. So these guys are the ones that are going to be fed right here. So I'm going to take some flakes, okay? I'm going to take about this much. Now, obviously, every system is going to require a different amount of food because it depends on how many fish you have, how big your system is, and all that. So let's go ahead and feed them there already at the top. And watch them eat. Goldfish are savages, and they will eat pretty much everything that you throw in the water because that's just what they do, which doesn't make them any different than most humans. So this type of flake actually has a bunch of nutrition in it. Well, different nutrients, I should say. And I will show you, just to give you an idea. So right here, these are the active ingredients. Okay. So that should give you a good idea. Now, I personally like to feed my fish 3 times a day. You can choose to feed them once a day, 2 times a day, You can even choose to feed them 4 times a day. I personally think 3 times a day is perfect because it gives them a nice window to where they're eating and to where they're not eating. Now let me go ahead and throw a little bit more in here because I actually have a pretty heavy fish load in here. This particular bin's 150 gallons. Obviously it's connected to this entire system. But as you can see, they will slaughter all of that in pretty much no time at all because, again, like I said, they're savages and that's what they do. Look at this guy. Look at this. The red cap oranda. Look at that. What a beautiful fish. And look, an all red fantail. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now, you could probably see why I like goldfish so much because of the way they look, the way they react. And look, you can see all that food is pretty much gone already because, again, they are savages. Yeah, so these guys will, you know, again, they'll grow really depending on the water quality and really depending on how much you feed them and what you're feeding them. Obviously, not all food is created equal. I personally use this kind of food, which is Tetramin Tropical Flakes, because this type of food offers a lot of different nutrients, like I said. And I like the flakes because, as opposed to pellets, because flakes, as soon as you throw them in the water, they get a little soft. You don't have to worry about the fish injuring their mouth or anything like that, although if you use small enough pellets, you really don't have to worry about that. But I like to keep it like that anyway, just because that's my preference. So as you can see, my goldfish are nice and healthy. These ones are kind of small. These ones are roughly 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches at most, I would say. And yeah, all these goldfish are able to be kept together because goldfish coexist with each other nicely. They're not very aggressive. However, obviously, if you have small fish, I would still be advised to what you keep with them and, you know, how you feed them together and everything like that. Although, again, I will say they're not very aggressive, so you can pretty much keep goldfish with almost anything. Now, there's also another myth that you can't keep goldfish with plants. Well, the lie detector determined that is a lie, because you can. It really just depends on what kind of plant you keep them with. Obviously, there are going to be some plants, like the more lettuce-type plants, like anacarus and duckweed and stuff like that, that they will literally just slaughter. These guys will slaughter that. These right down here are Anubias, and actually, I'm sorry, no. These are actually ocelot. This is an ocelot sword right here, and so they will be able to be kept with certain sword plants and Anubias, any pretty much plant that has a really broad leaf on it. So that'll give you a good idea about what you can keep and what you can't keep with goldfish. Obviously, there's other stuff. If you have any questions, definitely drop me a comment and I will do my best to answer your question in a timely manner. So let me go ahead and switch to something else now. I want to show you a little bit more about my filtration system. So there's one rule of thumb I like to follow with keeping goldfish. So when I keep goldfish, what I like to do is I like to also give them shade. As you can see, these 2 lids right here are meant for shade. Obviously, you can use plants and you can use a couple other things, but I use this because it's easy to take in and out of the water if I want to, because I actually do sell them. So the reason why I do that is to keep the temperature down. So goldfish, which is so amazing, is that goldfish can be kept all the way down to around 40 degrees and all the way up to in the 80s. Now, I wouldn't recommend keeping them up into the 80s, but if need be, you can do that. Reason being why I wouldn't keep them up in that temperature range is because the level of oxygen that's available in the water is much less. So I'm going to go ahead and move this out of the way so you guys can see a little bit in here. Got some Bunkins, got some more Ryukins, some Orandas, some big ones, some small ones. Got a little bit of variety in here. So that wraps up my video here today. I hope you guys learned something today. If you have any questions, drop a comment below and hit the subscribe button to get more videos from week to week from me. If you like weird content, I'm the king of weird. I mean, I think that pretty much speaks for itself. I wear an ocarina pretty much all the time. And like always, keep it weird. Why are you acting like you're starving? You're not starving, you just ate. Stop stealing all my food!